land van verlatenheid in die klein Karoo waar die bergwinde waai.
So in the book of Isaiah, it talks about they shall be called trees of righteousness. It's very interesting how, the whole thing of trees comes in the Bible. For me, there's a lot there because, I love trees. Trees are like the giants, You don't think about it, but a tree is really a big boy. They go 1,000 years old, they go older. You think of olive trees, how old they go. What gets me into trees is, I live on the land, and when you start thinking about trees and what they do for the land, what they do for everything, about 60% of the tree is water. So a tree is a mass of water, 60% of that weight. So if you have a couple of oak trees, pines, or anything on your land, you got tons of water sitting right there on your land. So somebody put it, he said, it's like a land lake. Because if you have a forest, basically you have a lake of water. What does it do? Why is it so important? Well, water takes a lot of energy to warm up. It regulates the temperature. So instead of the temperature going up and down, it's got to warm all that water up. It doesn't want to be warmed up so quickly, And at night it's got to cool it all down. It doesn't want to cool down that quickly. So if you have an area where there's trees, well, in the summer it's cooler, in the winter it's warmer. It's just amazing. It just stabilizes it. The next thing is, the tree stands there in the middle of the land or wherever it is, and when the sun comes up and it shines on the tree regulates its own temperature by, giving evaporating water off its leaves, and that actually cools the tree down. So if you go on a nice hot day and you take the leaf of a tree and you hold it, it's cool. It's not just shade, it's actually cool. So the radiation from the whole area is sucked up by the tree, and it cools the whole environment down, really. You get your small little boys, like grass and shrubs and things around. They don't have to bear with that huge amount of radiation. But a big tree, I tell you what, it takes something to wipe that guy out. He's got his roots gone way down there. He's got reserves down there where he goes and fetches water. When the light shines on the tree, it takes the light of the sun and it converts that light to energy. So you can almost say it's like a battery, A tree is like a battery full of the sun's energy. There it's sitting. It's taken all that energy in, and it's sitting there in the tree. If you were to take the tree and divide it into four, you say one half it uses on top for structure, which is wood, and one half on top it uses for fruit. Of that energy it stores, it put one, of that half it puts, let's say, a quarter into structure, a quarter into fruit. But underneath, it puts 1/4 into root structure, it puts 1/4 into root exudates, which is basically like sugars that it's pushing out wherever the roots go. It's sugar and it's carbohydrates, so it's like a cookie, they say. So it pushes these cookies out underneath the ground, and all the microorganisms, mainly fungi, they consume that. To push that bit of liquid out there, it needs to put water with it too. So all your little plants that grow there between the feet of the tree, they benefit from that bit of liquid. They benefit from the microbes that are alive, and they benefit from the it's minute, that liquid, but it's amazing, that they actually can take up that liquid. We are called trees of righteousness, or we're meant to be trees of righteousness. If you just look at what I was saying, what are we supposed to be, Well, first of all, we were meant to have a stabilizing effect, We're meant to have resources, way outside of ourselves, so that, we don't just go off the handle. We're human. We're all subject to similar things, but there's a restraining hand on our lives. God restrains us, and so we can take the harshness, or we can take those things, and we can level it over. We can smooth it out, because we understand. We're under a higher authority. We understand a measure of justice. We understand a measure of, God's in control, God's in charge, and we can surrender to Him, so we can cope with those ups and downs by, just walking with God, because we trust God that somewhere along the way He's gonna either strengthen us, or He's gonna change the situation. We can bear with it, so we can say, listen, I forgive you. I let you go, because we have been forgiven. God has poured into our lives forgiveness. And even though it's not always easy, it's possible, because God works in our lives. When you sit to something, God's going to put His finger in that something, and you have to just get through it. You're going to have to find your strength and your grace in the work of Christ to come to a place to be at rest in the issues that are affecting you. If you think of trees, they actually pluck themselves out of thin air. 99% of the tree comes from thin air. It takes the carbon dioxide that you breathe out, and it actually uses the energy of the sun. It splits it, and it takes the carbon and gives off the oxygen. Now, in that very process, it does something amazing. The oxygen is life. It gives life, because all the creatures living everywhere, they're dependent on that life. It can't build itself with carbon alone, so it's got to go and fetch some minerals from down there, wherever it can find the minerals. Our relationship with the Lord is very much meant to be like that, It's a good picture. We grow out of thin air, If we can receive God's input into our lives, we grow thereby, and it becomes something concrete in our lives, The trees of righteousness, they feed sugar, they feed things into that world. It softens it up a bit, It opens their lives up a little bit. Everybody responds to love, You can't give love if you don't receive love. You can't put that root exudates out if the light doesn't shine on the leaves, Because in the end of the day, it's just that energy that had come into your system that you are putting out. There's no glory you can take, You just opening up to the light, shining in your life, and that goes out. It's such a powerful example of a tree of righteousness, People take shade under that. People take comfort. I find that if I plant more than one tree, more than one type of tree, they actually do better, than you just plant one single tree. If you have an evergreen tree, or you got a deciduous tree, when it loses its leaves, it's not photosynthesizing anymore. It's not giving. I guess that's sometimes our lives. We're not always in a place of giving. You lost your leaves, but you still want to give. No, man, just quit. You lost your leaves, just rest. God will make you fruitful again. In time, the leaves will come. Getting back to the scriptures, it says, "He shall be like a tree planted by the streams that bear its fruit in its season." In its season, it bear its fruits in its season. It says, rooted and grounded in Christ. For me, it means that this tree has got stability. The wind can come, it's not going to just blow over, That means it's photosynthesized well because it developed a good root system, It's grown big enough to withstand the storms and the wind, because the storms definitely will come. I think the main thing I take away from that, from a Christian point of view with trees, is it's not by might, it's not by power, but by the Lord's Spirit. It's actually a relationship. It's a relationship that we have with God. In this case, the tree has a relationship with the sun. The sun shines into the tree's life, and the tree grows thereby. And it's all the invisible things, It's the sunshine, it's the carbon dioxide that you're breathing out every day. Those invisible things that come into that tree's life, it grows thereby, The things that make you grow, It's a relationship with God. It's a relationship with others. Yeah, so plant trees, man.
Walk with you, my children, through valleys filled with gloom, in the echoes of the starlight, in the shadows of the moon, in the whispers of the night wind, are gentle words for you, to touch you and assure you it's my world you walking through. And all creation straining on tiptoe just to see the sons of God come into their own. I made the model stickleback to hide in crystal streams, the staring out to scan the night, the candle's gentle beams. I made the silly camel to roam the desert sand, but you are made, my children, to walk and hold my hand. And all creation straining on tiptoe just to see the sons of God come into their own. If life is filled with bubbles, they glisten and they burst. If life is filled with jewels that line a rich man's purse, but life is filled with water, it flows from depths of love. It flows to fill your weariness with blessings from above. All creation straining on tiptoe just to see the sons of God come into their own. All creation straining on tiptoe just to see the sons of God come into their own.